There is a metaphysical term that is referred to as the ring pass knot. And we would suggest that, and we speak in relative ignorance of this topic, and we're just going to do our best to communicate some useful information in regard to it. We would suggest that any consciousness tends to operate in the misapprehension of its non-oneness with the universe, with the planet, with all sentient beings, with all other human beings, and that evolution of consciousness that ultimately arrives at this real true understanding of we're all one all the time. We always have been, we always will be, we can't not be, no, we can't be abandoned, we can't die to this process in any true sense of the word. That there is a dynamic of multi-incarnate evolution of consciousness that ultimately allows us to traverse this, what we might refer to as a gestational vessel of consciousness on this planet. We look at the planet as a kind of womb within which all of species are evolving in consciousness constantly. There's required to be a membrane that holds the baby if we're all the babies in the womb. And in that process, there is a constant pressurization of the environment on us to motivate us to evolve constantly, to learn more, understand more, arrive at new understandings constantly, and higher consciousness. Metaphorically, it's could be, you could look at the whole process on the planet as holding a watermelon or a pumpkin seed between your thumb and index finger and applying pressure until it flies across the room. Well, this evolutionary pressurization process on the species is generating this higher consciousness. It's formative and it can feel quite destructive. And ultimately, we attain the capacity, the escape velocity, if we're not trying to escape anything, but the high frequency conscious understanding that allows us to traverse this seeming membrane or barrier and to bring consciousness into it as we're striving to do today, and also to facilitate and guide soul process so that it becomes capable of operating outside of this seeming illusory environment that we call life on Earth. And that we can and will, knock on wood, as a species evolve beyond these limitations, these current formative and developmental and actually curating and nurturing influences and dynamics into a state of realized liberation. And that's a worthwhile thing to do. And there's no hurry, aside from the 8 years of climate change that are before us, that are increasing the pressurization of this dynamic and hopefully accelerating us in a constructive, evolving higher consciousness path and process, and that we're all going to get there together, and hopefully we'll be in a loving oneness state and process when we all arrive there together. And this, of course, is challenging because we're all in different vantage points, different steps on the ladder simultaneously. So the world looks different to each of us. And we haven't, as of yet, learned to communicate with each other in such a way as to have us harmoniously recognize that we're all part of the same process all the time, and necessarily and beneficially so. And to be at peace with that, to be at peace with each other, to love each other and serve each other as equal to ourselves, for all peoples, all countries to serve all other countries as equal to themselves, and to recognize that competition and elimination of one nation compared to another is just a process of diminishing the potential of us to transcend this seeming barrier, this developmental evolutionary barrier that would allow us to have a sort of critical mass of attained consciousness globally.